I am deeply moved by the tragic tale of the Olsen twins. Even before they could walk, Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen became famous around the world. Thanks to Full House and their expanding media company, they became household names and amassed substantial wealth. However, a lifetime of suffering, anxiety, and striving for perfection accompanied the fame. The tale of the Olsen twins is a powerful one of reclaiming one's youth through the power of perseverance. A broken family, extreme public obsession, invasive media attention, and eating disorders were all things they had to deal with. Their quiet says it all now that they are practically out of the limelight. Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen didn't even have time to dream before their acting careers took off, which is a dream that many children have. Their casting in the Full House pilot occurred when they were barely 6 months old. Changing scenes to adhere to regulations regarding child labor, they were already working by the time they were 9 months old. Jarnett and David Olsen welcomed twins into the world in Sherman Oaks, Los Angeles. Yet they were unable to utter a word. Because Ashley arrived 2 minutes ahead of Mary Kate, she is considered the older sister. Their foray into the entertainment industry was largely coincidental. The show's creator, Jeff Franklin, was astounded by the children's composure and confidence in the face of complete strangers during an open casting call. Their effortless charisma landed them the role of Michelle Tanner, which would transform their lives and catapult them to global fame. Even before they joined the cast, the Olsen family was a part of the story. The show's success was due in large part to Michelle Tanner's meteoric rise to stardom and the show's production values. The unauthorized Full House story, a Lifetime movie from 2015, suggests that the show's producers and actors may have struggled to adjust to the show's new popularity due to its younger stars. Due to California's regulations regarding child actresses, they had to take turns playing the part since they couldn't work more than 20 minutes per show. The pressures of being professional entertainers were too great for the law to alleviate. They were under continual surveillance and control during a time of discovery and innocence before they even picked up a reading book. Even as early as the 1990s, they were attracting media attention that foreshadowed the intense scrutiny they would later receive. An article published in 1991 by the Washington Post referred to the twins as infatuated, while another part of the same article made a subtle attack on their age and humanity by stating that they weren't very skilled players. Mary Kate would look back on her youth with reluctance rather than affection after a long time had passed. In interviews, she made it plain that she would never allow her own children to be on the show at such a young age, despite the show's success. Seeing the price she paid makes no one, not even her own children, want to do what she did. From the very beginning, there were indications of terror. 2 children, molded by an institution that valued performance more than character, had a complete identity crisis as a result of what had begun as a charming casting choice. They were fully immersed in the role they were portraying. Even as infants, Mary Kate and Ashley were expected to prioritize their careers as stars over their personal lives. The fact that nobody around them seemed to inquire about the potential costs saddened me. The Olsen twins' lives were drastically altered when the show ceased airing nearly 9 years ago due to parental divorce. In early 1996, the Olsen children's parents, Dave and Jarnett, announced their divorce after co-running their expanding business together. This came on top of their departure from a popular TV show. At the same time that their actual family life was deteriorating, the girls appeared to be escaping their childhood responsibilities. Some news outlets have reported that the twins' separation was caused by their inability to manage their multi-million-dollar brand. However, the reality was more mundane, intimate, and, regrettably, unremarkable. Dave began seeing a woman named Mackenzie, Prior to his resignation from his position in the banking industry, she was his coworker. He tied the knot with her barely a month after the news of their split spread. The media covered how quickly they were married again, but what really made headlines were the emotional consequences. Supposedly, Ashley stayed home with their mum instead of attending the wedding, but Mary-Kate made it. The fact that two girls had to live with different sets of parents at the same time demonstrated how their once organized world was becoming increasingly fragmented. Dave assured Jarnett that the girls were all right and that everything was fine, but Jarnett remained silent. Tragically, the family was disintegrating, leaving the young twins to juggle a demanding job with the emotional fallout of a dysfunctional home. Mary-Kate explained to Entertainment Weekly that despite their crazy lives, she and her siblings tried to maintain typical childhood routines. They had regular childhood activities like going to school, playing with friends, and having sleepovers. The twins did attend Campbell Hall Episcopal, a private school in Studio City that is known for encouraging creativity and individuality, which is great news for their parents. However, the reality was that their standard of normalcy was subjective from the start. Their high school memories were also impacted by their work. An important instance of this is the time they had to skip their senior prom in order to host Saturday Night Live. Rather than attending the prom, they decided to promote their film, New York Minute. The lesson was clear. No matter how much they cared about their families, work would always take precedence. The divorce, excessive work, and frantic efforts to maintain normalcy that characterized this phase of their lives were all part of a larger pattern. The world increasingly treated the twins more like adults, so they had to continually adapt. They kept quiet about how it affected them at first, but as they grew, the gravity of the situation became apparent. Even after their parents divorced and Full House ended, the Olsen twins' busy schedules continued unabated. They may have even accelerated. A short time after their parents' divorce, the girls' schedules were jam-packed. In 2000, they appeared as two defiant women named Sue and Carol Murphy on an episode of Seventh Heaven. The following year, they appeared in two new shows, a live-action comedy on Fox Family called So Little Time, and an ABC sitcom called Mary-Kate and Ashley in Action. Although neither show aired for more than a single season, their respective businesses continued to expand. Even before most kids get their learner's pass, Mary-Kate has already accomplished a lot. Her act was nominated for a Daytime Emmy. They had an unrivaled reach back then. From television to playthings, the Olsen twins were everywhere. Up until the year 2000, their fan club was called Mary-Kate and Ashley's Fun Club. For a fee, members received a plethora of swag, including images, posters, a magazine named Our Funzine, and a catalog of collectibles. A membership card, autographed photos, and other swag, like keychains or lyrics to songs, were also distributed to members. But the club was a big deal. It was promoted right at the beginning of their films and played a significant role in the expansion of their brand. While Ashley and Mary-Kate were on the scene in the 90S and 0S, they were much more than that. Shoes, purses, clothing, books, cosmetics, CDs, video games, even phones and CD players bore the brand. From 2000 through 2005, Mattel produced fashion dolls featuring the twins. They brought matching apparel and other accessories. They were a constant presence in the lives of preteens around the globe. Beneath all the glamour and advertising deals, though, something more sinister was happening. She was constantly the center of attention, and there was never any downtime. The number of photo shoots, press releases, and new products increased annually. The twins were already famous and serving as CEOs by the time they were 13 years old. It brought in a lot of cash, but at the cost of their time, privacy, and identity, things they could never get back. Despite appearances, the job was really just another cog in the corporate wheel driven by schedules, profits and public demand. They promoted the image of carefree and fun adolescence, but in reality they were more busy and lonely than ever. This section of their work did not represent a departure from previous efforts. Rather, it deteriorated. The tragedy wasn't their failure so much as their success. That is, their lack of freedom, their lack of privacy, and their gradual inability to exist independently of their own brand. Instead of celebrating their 18th birthday with a traditional party or rite of passage, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen decided to start a business while still in college. In 2004, the year they turned 18, the twins took on the role of co-president of Dual Star Entertainment Group. They had become a multi-billion-dollar brand thanks to this company, which had commercialized their youth. This was their first time taking charge of it. The twins began targeting an older demographic after they assumed complete control of Dual Star. They expanded their product line to include teen-targeted goods such as home decor, perfumes, and clothing, in addition to their children's content and merchandise. Because of them, the brand became a global powerhouse in no time. Their products are now available in more than 3,000 US stores and over 5,300 locations globally. Their influence extended far beyond the silver screen. In 2002, Forbes included them in its Celebrity 100 list in recognition of their business acumen. Their estimated $100 million, 0 cents net worth, put them at 11 Ayemong, Hollywood's wealthiest women in 2007. Following their graduation from Campbell Hall School, a highly esteemed institution in Los Angeles, the Olsens intended to continue juggling their academic and business pursuits. Both of them were admitted to the Gallatin School of Individualized Study at New York University. Dual Star could still be run by this school, allowing them to make individual lessons. It was going to be the ideal of both worlds. You could run Dual Star every day while also making your own academic plans. They leased a high-end Manhattan apartment and an adjacent office building. At first glance, it appeared perfect. Two young women about to enter the workforce, managing a global business while attending college. Unfortunately, everything fell apart rather fast because it wasn't planned. Despite receiving admission, Mary-Kate and Ashley struggled to adjust to college life. Both had discreetly dropped out of school by the conclusion of their second year. It appeared like they were juggling multiple priorities, even though they officially stated their intention to focus on Dual Star. The enormous amount of pressure, the inconvenient living conditions, and the lack of personal space all played a role. With Gallatin's self-directed school, students enjoyed a great deal of independence, but little oversight from teachers. It was even considered that perhaps they were never truly committed to completing their education. Keeping everything in check was difficult, as Mary-Kate mentioned in her remarks. They experienced a taste of freedom, spontaneity, and an unstructured lifestyle in college, but it was short-lived. A world devoid of boardrooms, contracts, cameras, and reviewers existed for them outside of NYU. What should have been their coming of age and a departure from their always planned lives turned out to be just confirmation of what they were beginning to suspect, that they could never truly live like everyone else. Constant scrutiny was the most bothersome aspect of living in the spotlight. While on campus, they were seen as movable targets by the cameras, news blogs, and even other students. Rumor has it that tabloids published accounts detailing their whereabouts, activities, and even classroom photos. In retrospect, the twins did say that they never felt secure at NYU due to the fact that they could never tell who was a genuine student and who was trying to profit off of their personal lives. The murkiness was intensified by Mary-Kate's private life. She began an affair with Stavros Niarchos III, a Greek shipping magnate's heir. Their 5-month romance came to an abrupt end when rumors surfaced linking him to Paris Hilton. Newspapers ran with the story. Despite the lack of evidence of the alleged altercation, Mary-Kate reportedly dumped her boyfriend and relocated from New York to Los Angeles. On learning that Niarchos was seeing Hilton concurrently, a friend expressed her profound sadness. In an interview with W Magazine, Mary-Kate discussed her time at NYU, calling it really hectic. She also revealed that she and Hilton are no longer friends, but that they no longer communicate. The strain of her fame had clearly taken its toll on her by that point, even though they worked hard to establish their company and fade from public view. The scrutiny it would have been appropriate for Mary-Kate and Ashley to be adjusting to adulthood and gaining independence around this time. The reality was that they were the targets of persistent rumors and unwelcome scrutiny. They made an effort to avoid the media as children, but the scrutiny only intensified as they got older. The tragedy behind their fame became apparent as they struggled to conceal their personal problems. They had never truly belonged to themselves. Mary-Kate was secretly dealing with a far more serious issue, and this was happening behind the scenes. They began treatment for her eating disorder shortly before they turned 18. It had been known to her loved ones for quite some time. In order to ensure that she received assistance before she could lawfully decline it, her parents staged an intervention when she was still a minor, knowing that they would soon lose the legal ability to intervene. Michael Pagnotta, who was Mary-Kate's agent back then, announced her decision to accept the position in a public statement, but rather than receiving a sympathetic reception, the story became widely circulated in the media. Tragically, her health deteriorated further 3 years later when she developed kidney problems. There was more scrutiny after that. Ashley was also responsible for handling the news. She had a $40 million 0-cent lawsuit against the National Enquirer for a photo and article that gave the impression that she had blacked out from drugs. At a time when celebrity scandals were big business, the newspaper made the unusual move of printing an apology and correction, even though they didn't mention the payment much. Their friends were entangled in it, because it was that bad. Spencer Pratt and the twins were classmates in high school. Eventually, Spencer Pratt turned villainous on the hills. He went on to boast in an issue of Details magazine about how he had made $50,000, 0 cents, off of a photo of an underage Mary-Kate drinking at a party. The image fueled the media's fixation and blurred the line between personal and commercial. The twins' appearance was the subject of some of the most persistent rumors. They never grew taller than a little over 5 feet, but the cruel press made them famous for their appearance. Due to the Olsen's size, numerous stories about famous people having meltdowns were published in the early 2000s. Without regard for the veracity or the individual, rumors regarding substance abuse or eating disorders were circulated on gossip websites and even in prominent media outlets. Not surprisingly, popular websites were involved. Even though Mary-Kate and Ashley attempted to skirt the topic of weight when they appeared on The Oprah Winfrey Show in 2004, Oprah insisted on asking about rumors of eating disorders and the sizes of their clothing on national television. Since Mary-Kate promptly checked herself into an eating disorder treatment facility, many were unhappy with what transpired at the time. But instead of caring for her, her condition became national news. Because they were in the same line of work, the twins would be subject to many critical evaluations. However, the parallels became more glaring and obvious as the children matured. The media frequently portrayed Ashley as the superior individual whenever Mary-Kate was in the spotlight and experiencing issues. Neither Ashley nor her sister were included in the 2007 Hot 100 list, although Maxim magazine placed Ashley at number 37.